In the last episode, we learned about the story of Ryan's infidelity with Megan as a reaction to his discovery of Maria's affair with Jason. We also saw Ryan and Maria uncover the similarities and differences between their infidelities and to what extent those findings impact Ryan's willingness to accept Jason as a poly partner. In this episode, we will see the emotional toll experienced by Ryan and Maria as a result of being faced with making a very difficult decision about the future of their relationship with one another. Let's take a look.
But there's people that I know that one partner is monogamous because that's what works for them, and they're capable and accepting of.
Great. Yeah.
You are not you are not monogamous.
Yeah.
I am okay with just being with you.
Yeah. Polyfidelity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's.
Yeah. Those relationships exist, and that's what it's like for me. I don't care about. Like, there is no right or wrong label. It's like I said, there's many different successful models of a relationship. It's whether or not the two of you are going to be that couple, right? But again, it's a lot easier to say, okay, I'm not really sure. Let me explore this with you in a perfect environment without interferences to actually tease that out, right or wrong, right? And then if that succeed or fail in either direction, then we can open up the door for, well, I concluded that I'm poly, and what does this mean? Can we be one of those couples who are one person is poly, the other one person monogamous? Is it going to be poly, or whatever new negotiation for that be? But that cannot happen without choosing a path and exploring all the way, and properly exploring it all the way, so that you can figure out your findings without any confusion.
Okay.
And up to that point, what has been described, that has not happened.
I don't think he interferes with the relationship nearly as much as everybody else seems to thinks that he does. It's my quiet spot to go and recharge and not lose my shit, because you have to.
Sure, but again, I'll be honest with you. Again, I said, you okay?
I'm frustrated.
Okay. Frustrated with me, the process?
Everything I know.
Okay.
You have to understand. Look at how I was for the 3 weeks that there was no contact between us. I did okay for a little while, and I just got balled up and balled up and balled up and balled up, and I couldn't handle it anymore. And I finally said, hey, I gotta go out. Did you see that? Did you see how hard I was trying? Did you see that until I couldn't handle it anymore? I'm not using him as the crutch that everybody seems to think I'm using him as. I'm using him as an ability to function. He is my coping mechanism right now, so I can keep going and keep fighting, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him.
So how do you think he's being seen?
What do you mean?
You're saying that everybody thinks that.
Ryan thinks he's the fucking devil.
Okay, no, but I want to make sure that we're clear in terms of also how do you think that I perceive this, because it is important for me to make sure that I'm actually being perceived correctly or incorrectly.
I'm probably laboring under the fear and misconception that after I was listening to the book, it's pretty clear that he's gonna have to go. If I want this to work,
Nope.
I'm gonna have to shut that door and walk away from him, and I don't know.
No, I'm simply trying to help you figure out what is it that you want to do, and all I can do on my end is say, these are the ways that will lead to that, because at the end of the day, it is your choice, it is his choice about where this can go, and I'll make that crystal clear as far as this last piece. Before we talked about the frustration about how you're feeling about, the discussion point up to this, when talking about he's my place to recharge, right? I am not disagreeing that he's your place to recharge, coping mechanism, something that helped you have function and survive all this long, right? Because that's how you see it, correct?
I would not be here if it wasn't
Okay.
him shoving me back and go fix it, you can do this.
And at any point of this whole process, I did not think or feel that he wasn't that role for you.
No, it's just that going forward, it's without distractions, and I react to that because distractions mean
Great.
that it's just him and I. In his opinion, it's
Okay.
just him and I, and there's nothing else.
So let me say it in a different way. Because we're all in agreement that this is a coping mechanism, somebody who have helped you, something instrumental, something has been positive in the sense of maintaining sanity.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. One, this outlet is a human being with their own thoughts and feeling. It's not just an actual retreat where I interact with and there's no complication, so it's a bidirectional,
Yes.
which makes it complicated. So we cannot just say, here's a place for me to recharge my battery. He's an individual that's recharging my battery with his own agency, thoughts, and feelings. One.
Yes.
Two, what I'm trying to say, if you're trying to discover whether I'm not going to be monogamous or poly, that discovery, that road, there is no way to do that while we have somebody else on the back burner. Well, there is that, regardless of how legitimate and valid this person is, it's like, it goes against the whole process. Because if I'm trying to find out, can I be monogamous or not, it will skew the whole data will be skewed because fundamentally I'm not actually doing this experiment properly because I have another person. Not because that person is a distraction, not that because that person is bad or healthy, nothing of that. It's just fundamentally, if that's what I'm trying to accomplish, by design, there's no room for it. That doesn't mean that close it. I'm just saying if that's one of the things that you're trying to explore, that you cannot get to that point A to point B with that person there. Simple. Now, in application, even if you intellectually wrap your mind around it, you're saying, okay, if I get it, but that's really hard to do, or it's impossible to do. You have to face those realities. I'm not saying just because intellectually is logically we're on board with it that it should be easy. It's just really a matter of, am I sold on it intellectually, and two, do I want to do it? If you don't want to do it, then don't do it. But also that means that you're not going to be able to verify whether or not you're the type of person who can be monogamous or poly. Unless you can figure out a different way for you to explore that. I cannot say, I can't say I'm trying to test drive whether or not I'm a one car kind of guy, but at the same time, I have another car. Regardless of how awesome both cars are. Does that make sense? Okay. But not for me, then this is not for me saying, well, you do it this way, that way. Just simply like, if this is what you're trying to get at, here's the road to get at it.
Right, and I understand that. I've done that. I've done the work. I've done that. I've put that away. I have, and it's been hard, but the way forward right now is for me to put another piece of me on the back burner, and that's that's the way, is for me to put something away right now. And
That's one way.
I don't.
There's another way to say, no, this piece is important for me, right? I'm not interested in discovering all these other things, and this is what I need, and how that fits with what he wants or what he needs.
I just don't. That's the cliff thing again, that I have to jump off the cliff and I have to cut off a piece of me to attempt to make this work the way that it should. And
And only the way it should, if you believe that's how it should be, not because me
But
saying that or him saying none of that. Because remember, I'm not saying that's the direction that you need to go.
that's the road, right?
That is the road if you're saying, I'm not sure if I'm poly or I can have my needs fulfilled in this relationship. But if you're sure that you're poly, then yeah, this becomes a moot point. I don't know if you're really poly or think that you're poly. That's not my experience, right? I know enough that there was a relationship deficit. That I can wrap my mind around. It's clear based on what you said and what he said. There's a whole, like I said, all these things I listed is a clear indication there was a relationship deficit, right? Now, did this relationship deficit, that infidelity happen because of the relationship deficit? Now, do I really think I'm poly because there's the person who was able to meet my needs successfully, and I don't think that I can replicate that? Or is it really no, even if I'm able to have that in my relationship, this person is important for me. This is irreplaceable. This is something I'm not willing to give up. And if that's the case, I don't have a problem with that. You might not like hearing that. Again, it's not my relationship. That's your truth. If that is your truth, then that dictates the process.
That's what I feel is I don't.
Yeah, but it's important to ask, why do I feel this way, right? If I feel this way because this is who I am versus this is, I feel this way because I don't think that you can provide this need. And even if you're able to provide this need, now my eyes are open that I need more.
I'm not unwilling to try. I just.
And willing to
I'm
try.
afraid to fall back down into that cycle again, and that I'm giving such an important part of me to make this work. And
Now again, that's a different conversation, right? And that's a valid fear. But if that's really where you're at, right? If that's it, and we don't have all these other alternative possibilities, there is a solution for that. To say, okay, I'm willing to give this a try, whatever that actually means, and I'm willing to give that away or close that door in the way that we talked about, right? But I need some commitment that if it does not work, and this is not do enough work just to get out of the doghouse, if it does not work and I don't get that feeling, I reserve the right to say, you know what, I give it the good old college try, sorry. I can keep it in my life in this capacity, but I still need this from somewhere else.
but it's kind of more where I'm at, is I've tried so hard.
But the difference is that someone else was there, was in the picture and interfering with his ability to succeed or fail. Now, I don't know if, let's imagine that you're saying, you know what, I'm done closing the door, Jason, and you give this guy the full opportunity that he's going to be successful. There's a chance that he might fail. No offense. I don't know, right? There's a chance that, you do that, you put it away, right? 100% overcome all of these things. Again, it's a tall order, right? But let's imagine there's a possibility that despite that he fails and realizes that, you know what, I gave up on something that was working out for me. It is a risk. I would be lying if I didn't say it's not a risk.
I know that, and I'm not concerned about losing something forever, because I trust the relationship that we have. It's not like that, but I'm sitting here with the feeling that I have tried. I've done as best I can with the parameters, and like, just friends, just this, and being honest when I screw up. And now I want him to try. I want him to step towards me and say, okay, I see how much that you've been trying. I can try too. I can try
Sure, but
something else.
but let's say we go that route, right? In the best case scenarios, what would this lead to? Right, let's say that he show up and try the same way that you expect him to try. What does this look like, and what would it potentially lead to?
It's gonna be fucking hard and awkward and uncomfortable.
No. Pretend that he's pushing all the right buttons and doing all the changes. What does this look like? What is him trying?
Can you let me process it my way?
Go ahead.
I know that it's gonna be hard and awkward and uncomfortable, and it's the opportunity to grow together that you're looking for. That it's gonna put us in that hard spot, and it's gonna put us both in that hard spot. Because it's gonna be just as hard for me, and I'm not the only one that's giving something up here and coming to you. You're coming to me, and we're standing in that hard spot together. And working through it together. And learning how to be just like you want. Without me having to cut a piece of me off to make you happy again.
So may I interject?
I've given so much. Yes.
Okay.
Did that help? Like, did me
Yeah.
actually, like, working that out express my point properly?
It depends on what I say and see if we're on the same page, right? I hear you loud and clear, but what comes to my mind following that, to what end? And to what end would be is what? To the end of me embracing this part of myself as poly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you see how I switched? I think I'm poly, you need to accept it, I'm not sure I'm poly. What or the other? And I know it's not an easy answer, but I'm saying that's where it gets here because again, if it's an issue, I'm not sure if I'm poly and I want to explore it. Here's what you need to do to explore it. It's not pretty, it's not easy, but if you're really interested in doing that, that's what you need to do. But if I really know I'm poly and I'm certain, and again, it is not my place to say, well, you're wrong. Your experience, your body, your life. I have no way in on that part, guys. Right?
To me, it's the same thing, though. I don't know if I'm poly. Let's explore this together. And if the exploration,
I'll be the bad guy, and I know you're not gonna like hearing this. In order for you to explore whether you're not poly or not, you have to start that exploration with one relationship. There's just no way around it. By design, not because I'm anti-poly. Like I said, I'm actually the more advocate for people of different types. When I do my trainings, I do a whole segment of people on poly and how people not be close-minded about poly. So there's not an issue of anti-poly.
I understand.
It's an issue of exploration if I'm not poly or not, by design, has to exclude any other relationship. Period.
I've been trying.
Okay.
I've been
Okay.
coming back to you and,
Okay.
and attempting to get my needs filled with you like you're asking me to
But
do.
you've been going away this entire time. You've been going away. But you have.
Let me say this in a million. It's hard for me to imagine that you haven't been trying and burning the candle from both ends. So it would be ridiculous to say that you have not been trying. You've been putting tremendous amount of effort beyond superhuman. Okay? It's the context of that effort and whether or not it was actually geared toward achieving the objective. That- Okay, the effort that has been described so far is along the line of what? I found this discovery about myself, I'm finding out that I'm poly, and I want you to be on this journey with me.
Okay.
Versus, I have this relationship deficit, I want to see if you can fulfill it. Again, and I'm only talking about this short period of time, right? Because I understand, pre-Dustin, Jason, there was other attempts to express needs and attempts to,
Sound like a what?
I sound like a whole
What do you mean?
pre-Dustin, pre-Jason, pre-everything else.
So sorry, I missed the last word you said. You sound like what?
Whore.
Why do you say that?
I've been the one that's strayed. It's my...
There is accountability on both parts, right? I said, infidelity doesn't happen out of nowhere. It usually happens for a reason, right?
Yeah.
He's taken acknowledgement and his responsibility of not meeting those needs, attempt of bringing up those needs. Like we had a list of things here. A lot of it was more on his, and there was some on yours. You have responsibility. He has responsibility. And I'm being clear about their relationship, or it's like everybody have deficit, whether individually or as a relationship. Nobody's perfect. Even therapists. Actually, therapists are more deficit in those areas because of their work. But despite that, right?
I don't care.
Exactly. But the accountability piece is how we act on that deficit, right? I hold on to that. I cannot sugarcoat and say, okay, well, you don't have zero accountability. You're responsible for how you acted on this dysfunction. That part, how you acted on that, 100% on you, right? But the dysfunction in the relationship as well too that he was experiencing, even when he was not unfaithful in all these other incidents, he acted on that dysfunction in a different way that might have been equally destructive. So infidelity is not the only destructive way of relationship dysfunction or individual dysfunction. Right? I understand it's hard to hear. I'll let you drive. Go ahead.
So, you just said, this isn't all in. This has never been all in. The primary destruction of us, where it started, and where it leads the heaviest, is in the knee. Do you understand? It's right here. The lack of care, the lack of understanding, the betrayal, the lack of communication. It's all here. It's here. It's here. There's some lack of communication over there. There's some lack of ability. There's a lot here. Lack of knowledge here. You're not the devil in this relationship.
For the record.
Have you listened to me? Have you listened to what's came across? Have you listened to what I am? Because it's come out of your mouth. You're not the sole responsible person for what's happened between us. You're not the catalyst for what happened between us. It all lies on me. Okay? You're not a horrible person. You're not a demon. You're not a devil. Not a whore. You've been misunderstood, mistreated, misacknowledged, misinformed. It's not on me.
Recovering from infidelity is an arduous process that requires the courage to uncover unpleasant truths and the willingness to act on those discoveries. The emotional toll of the process can lead to self-sabotage and inaction.
Ryan, here again. Today was a tough day. I'm beginning to see more and more the impact that I had on our relationship. I see the impact that I caused by being dishonest, and that I caused by not paying attention, not listening to her, not respecting her. I've kind of come to the realization that it shouldn't be about attacking anymore. It should be about understanding and figuring out the hows and whys. Maybe it's time to focus more on correction than analyzing. It's been 2 very long days of attacking Maria the way it feels to me, and I don't feel very good about it. You know, it's not 100% on her, because, you know, I cheated on her, and I cheated on her not in a point of revenge, but in a point of, hey, this is here, why not? And I think I feel worse for that than what she's done to me. The emotions are so high that it's a struggle to get along right now. It's a struggle. Supper was a struggle. Keeping it in check that this is all for the greater good, this is all to make us better, is even a struggle right now. And I know it's for the better. I know it's for making us better, for getting us there. But God, it's hard. The strain right now is even worse than when we came here. But I know it's for the better. The understanding. Like I told Maria here a little bit ago, we were talking, and she was having a breakdown. And we kind of made it a point to leave everything at the door. Well, it's not working. It's not being left at the door, because we're coming out of there and it's so horribly emotional. You can't just leave it. So you have to talk. And the thing is, without somebody there to negotiate with you, it's a struggle. So I kind of came to the conclusion that tomorrow it's time to walk in there hand in hand and say, it's time to pick a path. It's time to get on a path to recovery, to correcting, not attacking anymore, not belittling, but pick a path. Let's get on a path. Let's go. Let's get it fixed. It's all for the better now. It's all for the better.
Oh, video journal, end of day 2. It's been a rough afternoon. It was a rough day. Most of it didn't actually hit until this evening, and did our best to honor the agreement that nothing goes out of the room, but it's hard to process things. And then the events of the evening just added to it, and I don't feel like we're resolving anything. I don't feel like there's a good outcome to this coming down tomorrow. I don't know what to think or feel. Just tangled up. I was hoping, if nothing else, that he would finally see how hard I'm trying and how much he matters to me and how big of a deal this is for me. To be that difference, to make it work, to let him be my person. I'm trying. Whether or not it makes sense to anybody else, I am trying. I love him. I want to be with him. I want this to work. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm still here. That's why I've done all the things that I've done to put us here. That's why I've been through a year and a half of hell. It might not make sense, but I love him. And I've done the things. I'm a little confused at how we spent a day and a half on my transgressions and 10 whole minutes on his. That was a deal breaker for me, and he knew it. And I'm really struggling with that right now. That there was that level of betrayal and how deep he cut me when he chose to lie about it to me and tell me that I was crazy, essentially. That's what I'm struggling so hard with right now. I hope this helps. I hope this is worth it because it fucking sucks.
Good morning.
Oh,
All right, let's start with a check-in.
It was rough. It was a really rough night.
Can you explain?
She feels that this has been a focus on her and everything that she's done wrong. And it's draining on her. And it got to her. And she's frustrated. And it got to her last night. And she wasn't settled at all last night. She's frustrated. And I was trying to mind our agreement at the door, but yet worried sick about her. Not wanting to start anything, not wanting to cause any more problems. And we have somebody here to help us in it. So I was trying to remind myself, because I'm generally the one that causes the problems. I'm generally the one that can't shut up when it comes to being work. Don't you see we're getting somewhere? We're getting somewhere. And she asked to call Jason last night because we made the agreement to the door. I went, fine, whatever, go ahead. And she asked me point blank, is it because of it's okay, or is it just what I want to hear? I don't know what you want to hear, because it's not okay with me anymore.
Continue.
So we talked, and it the same recurring circle. The major blow up right now is we were coming over here and she shared a song with Jason, and I saw it, and I made the comment of, well, it's nice that you kept Jason out of this weekend, because this was our weekend. This was our chance of getting through this, and he's not out of it. I'll shut up now. I'll let her talk.
Well, finish.
Sure.
Both of you have adequate time.
And that's just it. That's my thing. Is that it's not about fixing us. It's about the understanding of, well, can't you see what I'm losing? I don't want to lose this, and this is the only way that I'm going to get you to understand, is if it's more about me saying, okay, well, I see you have to have Jason, so okay, well, I agree. Good boy, Ryan. It's not. That's what I feel. That's what I feel right now. She's disappointed because I haven't come to that conclusion that that's what it is. There wasn't any safety, there wasn't any boundary away from him. There wasn't any try to stay away from him to fix us this weekend, in my opinion. He was here, he's been here. He's like he's been right around the freaking car with us. I don't want to talk anymore.
Let me ask you a question before I give her an opportunity to check in. Were you expecting that there would be zero contact or interaction with Jason while the two of you are here?
I'd sure hoped it would be that. I'd sure hoped it would be important enough that he wouldn't be here.
Was that clearly communicated?
No, I never said anything.
Okay.
Because I figured it was important enough that it would have been understood, I guess.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, please check in. I can't hear you.
What's the point of talking? Everything looks like it's twisted around. That's not why I had a meltdown last night. It wasn't what it was about at all. Didn't hear the important words. Heard Jason and shutting me up. So.
Well, I'm interested in hearing what you tried to convey.
I can't. This whole thing is because I'm trying to make him understand that he's important to me. And I'm trying to make him understand how much I've been here and how much I've tried. And how important this is to me and how important he's always been to me. That I put everything aside for him repeatedly. I can't love him enough that he loves himself, and I can't love him for him. And it's not going to matter what I do, or what I say, or how much I give, or how much I'm into this, because it's never going to be enough for him, because it's not just his way. I shared a song with a friend that it wasn't just him, but I shared it with somebody else too. And I tried to share it with him first. And he kind of ignored me. And then we were talking outside and he said, whenever I hear that song, I think about you. You could have said something. You could have shared it with me too, if that's what you feel. The meltdown last night, because I just wanted to see how much I'm into this, and not every time I do something wrong, it's the end of the fucking world that I haven't done anything and I haven't been here. And he's been here the whole weekend. He hasn't been here the whole weekend. And the reason I asked to call him last night is because I was trying to honor the agreement that we made that it didn't leave this room. He's the only person I have that knows what's going on, that knows why I'm here, that would be able to talk to me. And I asked him, and he said okay, and I still took the time to clarify, and he told me that if that's what I needed, it was fine, and he tried to make me stay in the car and call him. When I told him I wasn't going to, he tried to make me stay in the car and call him. And I didn't. I gave that to him, and I didn't do it. No matter how much it might have helped me, I didn't do it. And because I was honest and I told him that I'm not here and I'm not involved in this, and I'm just trying to manipulate him into something that I want. That's not what it's about. I'm not that person. This isn't about me. It's about us, and it always has been. I'm just so tired of being misunderstood. It's easier to not talk than to be misunderstood. Not talking is the problem too, so what's the right answer?
What about the piece of frustration, feeling that the focus is on you? Is that accurate, or is that a misperception on his part?
We spent a day and a half talking about me and my relationships and 30 minutes talking about Megan. That was a deal breaker for me, and he knew it. Shaking my foundation in myself like that. We talked about it before when my dad told him that, well, you have a get out of jail free card now. I told him that he did it out of revenge, out of spite, that was a deal breaker. So not only did he do it, he betrayed me worse than that by lying to me about it and making me feel like I was crazy for thinking it and continuing to hide from me about it. That was a deal breaker for me, but I'm still sitting here. I'm still trying to make this work. I haven't got to work through anything of mine. I didn't do the stupid interrogation that he did with me for a week. I just don't bring it up because that just causes problems. And I told all of you before that if we follow the program the way that it's set out, not only do I lose my best friend, but I lose a little sister too, because she has to go too. But I'm still here.
So let's see if I can get us on the same page. And I'll start with, do you have doubts about why she's here?
No.
Why is she here?
Because she's said multiple times that we're important. That her and I are important to one another. That keeping this is important to her.
Okay. Do you believe her when she says that?
I do.
What was that?
She got a funny way of showing it.
But it's hard to be 100% into it when it's about her losing Jason. Well, this is how I lose. This is why I lose. This is why I lose. It's not about what we can gain together. It's not about what we can take from this as a gain.
Okay.
It's about the loss. No matter what happens, it's. But yes, I believe she's here. I've always seen her here with me. I've always seen her come back. I've always seen her fight.
So you understand that this is not easy for her, and she didn't have to do this?
Yeah, I understand that.
And she's doing this is because she's still trying to see if there is a future for the two of you together.
Yes.
Did you hear him?
I understand that she could have walked a long time ago.
Okay.
But that doesn't matter.
Okay, but hold on. Do you believe him when he says this? Is he saying, I see it?
Not really.
Okay.
Because it's invalidated by the fact that, no, this is all about what you lose.
Okay.
Yeah, because I want that to matter too.
Okay. But here's the thing. Highlighting what you stand to lose and how important your relationship with Jason is, you being honest and transparent. Right? That's a fact.
Yeah.
Now, that also doesn't mean that that's not going to get in the way of him wondering about how important this relationship with him. Which again, there is room for the two to coexist. Because otherwise, the only way for her to show that this is important for her, right, is by saying that I don't have those feelings and being dishonest about that. Right? Now I understand it's uncomfortable to hear that. Right? I understand from your vantage point it feels like, well, how is this the focus on us? But remember, her vision of focus on us include possibly Jason. Your vision of focusing on us is us only.
Yeah.
And that's where the disconnect. So that's point number one that I want to clarify. Point number two, as far as putting all the emphasis on you and not him, that is also a fact. We spent 2 days talking about the relationship history, as well as the infidelity on your end, and the last portion on the infidelity on his end. But I made it a point to highlight that even though we're doing the history, and even when we're talking about your infidelity and his infidelity, we're discussing the factors that you contributed, as well as the one he contributed. So even though the focus is on these stories, is not, well, let's pick on one person versus the other. And I also made sure to emphasize that we will talk about his infidelity until it makes sense to everybody. right?
It makes sense. I understand. It just, I don't feel like he understands the impact that had on me, and that was what my main struggle was last night. That was a deal breaker.
Now,
But
remember,
that doesn't mean that I want this any less, and I'm struggling with that with myself.
part of this is what, part of the process is that we have to also talk today about whether the two of you can acknowledge the impact of both infidelities. So that part we did not do on either side.
Yeah.
But as far as the story about his infidelity, I gave the option for the two of you yesterday to say, is there more to it? Is there any questions the two of you want to ask? And my recollection that, no, we asked all the information that we wanted.
I know.
So we cannot say, you know, if his lasted for half an hour and the other one lasted longer, it's not because I like him more than I like you.
That's how I took it.
But I want to make sure that if it's related to discovery and questions, we can do more time for that. But if it's an issue of impact, that's actually what we're going to do, like right after the segment. But it is important for the two of you to walk away with as many questions being answered as we can, because the two of you have been going with that for a long time, and it's important. It is owed for the two of you. Fair?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll start with point one. Any more question about the story about his infidelity? Not the impact, but the story.
How is it that I can spend a day and a half talking about mine, hoping that you can understand? That, yeah, I slept with her is sufficient.
Do you know,
First of all, who's saying sufficient, and what does that mean?
I don't know what I want to know. I don't know what to ask. I just,
Okay. So then it's an issue of
that's,
comparison of time?
that's all there is to it is, well, I slept with her. Well, there's got to be a better reason than well, I slept with her, because that was a deal breaker for me.
He did not say, well, I slept with her. He elaborated and clarified the reason why he slept with her, and none of the reason that he gave were good enough, because again, I said this before, and I'll say it again for the two of you, nothing justifies or excuses infidelity. And to recap, right, it wasn't as simple, well, I did it, just deal with it, right? It was clear that, you know, he misled Megan. It was clear that she ended up being used as a pawn to deal with this issues between the two of you. It was clear that there was an issue of hurt by her infidelity, so this is one way for you to get back. There was a part of, well, here's somebody who is showing up and willing to explore, and I want somebody to show me the way. So it wasn't simply I slept with her and there it is, unless I missed something.
When we listen to Maria in this episode, we notice a clear ambivalence and lack of clarity about whether or not she is poly. We also notice an unwillingness to choose a path to help her with this exploration. We also notice attempts to distract from facing the core issue that needs to be resolved by shifting the focus to Ryan's infidelity and claiming that it was not explored as thoroughly as hers. This belief was based on using time spent on exploring the multiple infidelities on her part in comparison with Ryan's. When we listen to Ryan, we see the ongoing struggle of feeling secondary as a result of Maria's continued reliance on Jason for the fulfillment of her emotional needs. We also notice that his effort to be supportive and sympathetic to Maria, despite his pain, to a point that one can argue that he is enabling interaction with Jason's and validating the choice to keep the status quo. I want you to keep this observation in mind as we move forward to the next steps in the process of recovery. Until then, be well, be safe, and embrace the possibility for a brighter future.